Hello peeps and welcome back to Modded Minecraft with Nightdagger. We are on episode 25. Alright, so I did do another live stream between episodes. I figure, if I'm going to be doing in-between episode stuff, I might as well be live streaming it so that people can watch while I'm doing it. And I did do a couple of things off camera that are of note, so let's go over those real quick before we get started. First of all, I did go ahead and make both the alchemic chemistry set and the regular brewing stand. Alright, good. I also put this thing over here. This is a imperfect ritual stone with a lapis lazuli block. Basically, this is a very entry-level sort of blood magic that I was really wanting to show you guys. So, imperfect ritual stone with some sort of block over it has an effect when you right-click the ritual stone. The lapis lazuli block turns it into night when you right-click. If it's a piece of bedrock, then it gives you a resistance 2 effect. I think a block of coal gives you, it spawns a zombie, something like that. My other silverwood tree grew. I went ahead and planted my saplings over here. Still freaks me out that it's that easy to get that to happen. And then you might notice that our mob spawner has grown a little bit. Well, I went ahead and went into the nether. And, oh, hello. We have a blaze spawner in here. Yeah, we got a blaze spawner in here. So that we can collect massive amounts of blazes. You might also notice that there's a node here. There wasn't a node here before. Well, you're right. There wasn't a node here before. That node used to be out there. Aqua Air Perdicio Terra. What's it doing here? I used a warded jar, a node in a jar to move it here. We will do a little bit more playing around with that later on, but for right now, I've got a problem that I want to address. One more thing that I did off camera before we get into that problem is I did go ahead and make myself a crossbow from Tinker's Construct. We have a plastic crossbow. Uses a plastic bowstring, or a plastic limb with an alamite body and a alamite tough binding and a fire bowstring. We also have Manulian bolts. These bolts are made with a steel body with Manulian placed over top of them and then enhanced with nether quartz. This crossbow will one-shot pretty much anything you can think of. Case in point, hey Mr. Spider, get wrecked. Oh, it didn't one-shot the spider. Figures. Oh, this is a tough spider, that's why. So, a named mob sometimes takes 2 or 3 shots. Most mobs take 1. This was done in preparation to go fight the End Dragon. Because the last thing that I did off camera, let's put this stuff away. The last thing I did off camera was I went and found the end. If we go into the nether, and we wait for us to spawn here. There's another book here that takes us back to the overworld and takes us right to the end portal. We can see it's really not that far away from our base. And then this book over here takes you back to the nether. And this one takes you back to our base. So, we can go fight the End Dragon pretty much anytime we feel like it. However, I'm not quite ready yet. I want to start working on production. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I need to show you guys. I keep forgetting about this crap. All right, so I want to start working on automatic mining, automatic production, automatic resource handling. In order to do this, we want to go back into the realms of Rotarycraft. Now, this all starts with the grinder. But the grinder, as it is inefficient. So I've gone ahead and upgraded it. This grinder is now a performance engine. Or the gasoline engine is now a performance engine. You make the performance engine by applying a performance engine upgrade to a gasoline engine, or you can just craft it straight out if you want. It is a 2x gear unit from Rotarycraft, a couple of steel gears and shaft unit, not a big deal. A radiator, which is some gold, some HSLA, and some liquid pipes. The liquid pipes are HSLA and glass, so no big deal. Gold and base panel gives you performance engine upgrade. The performance engine has double the output, or double the speed and double the torque of a gasoline engine, so 4 times the power. However, this grinder can only take 128 nanometers of torque. Any more than that is wasted. So this puts out 256 nanometers of torque. What do? You use a gearbox. We're going to use diamond gearboxes instead of steel or wood or anything lower tier because A, we have diamonds to spare, we can afford it, and B, these things don't burn lubricant as they operate. You have to put lubricant into them to make them work properly, but they won't use it. 1 bucket will last this thing forever, even if you break it and move it. 1 bucket lasts forever. So, the grinder now runs approximately 4 times as fast because we're putting 4 times the speed in at the same torque. Other than that, everything else is the same. The performance engine requires 2 more things. It has to have a source of coolant in the form of liquid water. We're pumping it in from the same system that supplies the fermenter over here. It also requires an additive. The additive that we're using is blaze powder. We're going to need a lot of blaze powder going forward here. Let's put some more blaze powder in there just to make sure we've got enough. Now, if you put blaze rods in a grinder, each blaze rod, and you can see how much faster this thing is running now, each blaze rod will grind down into 6 blaze powder. This is good for us. We need lots of blaze powder. There's something else we need lots of. Because we are going to start working towards making ourselves a fractionation unit. We need jet fuel. A fractionation unit takes a fuel line, a mixer, base panel, and gold ingots. The mixer is really easy to make. It's just an impeller with steel gears. An impeller is a gear surrounded by tin. Fuel line, also not hard. Obsidian and glass. Making the fractionation unit is not hard. Powering it is also not terribly hard. A performance engine with a 4x gear unit will do it. Not a hard thing to do. However, making jet fuel requires blaze powder, netherrack dust, ethanol crystals, magma cream, tar sand, and coal with a gas tier as a reagent. The gas tier is not used, but all of these things are, to make jet fuel. Blaze powder, magma cream, both require blaze powder, hence why I got the blaze spawner going there. Magma cream requires slime balls, hence why I was growing the slime trees outside. Ethanol, not a problem. We've got ethanol to spare. Coal, same thing. We've got plenty of coal. Netherrack dust and tar sand. These things have to be done through the grinder. That's why I upgraded the thing on it. Netherrack dust is ground netherrack. Tar sand is ground soul sand. So, we need to process at least a stack of soul sand, and we need to process at least a stack of netherrack. Well, I don't have a stack of netherrack, so we're going to have to go get some. We're going to put the soul sand in there, and then we're just going to let it process canola seeds if we don't get back in time. Remember, this is chunk loaded now, so that will continue to run even if we're in the nether, which is exactly where we're going. We're going to come in here into the nether. We're going to come over here and we're going to dig up approximately 3 or 4 stacks of netherrack. Maybe a little more. It's not like it's hard to get this stuff. Then, after we've got a decent amount of netherrack, we're going to head over this way. We're going to repeat it with soul sand. Because we're going to need tons and tons and tons and tons of soul sand. And netherrack. And coal. But coal is not that big a deal. Coal, we get lots of. How much soul sand do we have? 3 stacks. Let's go for 4. Once we've got 4 stacks, we'll call it good. Here a ghast. Four, almost 5 stacks. Sure, we'll finish up that 5th stack and we'll call it good. Alright, back to the overworld. Oh, it's raining. We'll sleep through the night, get through the rain. Alright, how are we doing with our soul sand? We got soul sand processing through. Good. So after our first stack of soul sand, we're going to want to do a stack of netherrack. Then after that, we're going to tell it to keep doing netherrack for right now. And then I'm going to put a chest on top of here, and we're going to load that up with soul sand and netherrack. There we go. Soul sand, netherrack, good to go. Alright, let's go ahead and make the fractionation unit. First thing we're going to need is the fuel lines. We need some obsidian, need some glass. Obsidian, glass gets us fuel lines. We need the impeller, which is an HSLA gear with tin around it. We then take that impeller, we surround that with HSLA steel. That gets us our mixer. We need a base panel. We need 6 pieces of gold. So, gold on the edges, base panel, mixer, fuel line. That gets us our fractionation units. So, we have the base item that we need. However, we need a way to make this thing operate. Well, we could go for another performance engine. 1024 kilorad. Yeah, we're going to go 1024 kilorad. We're going to go for the performance engine. So, we need a 2x gear unit, an impeller, so we need to make another one of these. We may as well keep this out because this has to be done in the workbench. Cylinders. We need 2 cylinders. Got that. Ignition unit. No problem. Got that. Shaft unit. Got him. 2x gear unit. We're short of gear for that, so let's go ahead and make our gears. Two-X gear unit. Base panels. Need to make a few more base panels. Okay, radiator. Need some gold for the radiator. Well, I don't have any gold. The crap. How do I not have gold? Can I make gold with the gold coins? Secondary with ardite. Casting table, molten gold. Okay, molten gold will turn into 16 millibuckets. That's shitty. It's the same as a nugget, I guess. Alright, well, let's see if I can melt down these helmets just to get a bit of gold. And the leggings. I don't know if you can melt down a partially damaged helmet. I don't know if this is a thing. We're going to find out. Nope. Can't melt down partial equipment. Too bad. I can melt down fully repaired equipment. So, that'll work. I could also make an anvil and probably repair this stuff, but alright. We only need a couple of units of gold for this. So, this will get us everything we need for right now. And then I definitely need to do some mining off camera. Because if I'm out of gold, that's a problem. One, two, three. What am I doing? Okay, there's our 3 gold for our radiator. And over here, the recipe for a performance engine is like so. Alright, let's take this thing downstairs and set it up. We're going to set it up to the other side of this. That's not how I want it. Like that. Okay? Underneath it, we're going to put another engine control unit so that we can control when it turns on. ECU, and we're looking at another piece of gold, and we're looking at gold for the circuit board, unless I already have a circuit board, which I don't. Alright, so we're looking at some gold. Let's go ahead and dive down into our mines real quick. I hate doing mining on camera, but situations like this call for it. Come down here. There's got to be some gold around here somewhere. See, there's some gold right here. There's a bunch of this poor gold, but poor gold only gives you nuggets. It's not worth picking up, really. Okay, that's yellowite. That's not gold. There's some gold. There's a bit more. Okay, we're good. We'll call that good. We'll go put the gold through the grinder because that's going to give me the best output. It'll give me 3 flakes for every ore. We shouldn't have to wait too terribly long. Jetpack's bad out of fuel. We need to refuel that. Okay, put the jetpack in the infuser. We'll let it refuel. We're going to come over here and we're going to hijack this grinder for just a minute. We've got almost a stack of tar sand. That's good to start. Come on. There we go. Oh, there's my gold. Derp. Didn't even have to do that shit. Definitely need to get some ethanol. Alright, put the gold ore away, and engine control unit. We need a circuit board. We're going to use the 2 for recipe using ender pearls now. We need HSLA, gold, redstone. Alright, HSLA down the sides, gold in the middle, redstone at the bottom, circuit board at the top, control unit. We'll save the other circuit board for later. Need a lever. Need some ethanol. One thing to note about the performance engine. It puts out 4 times the power, but it also uses twice the fuel. We're out of fuel in this performance engine. So, we pump this thing full of fuel, you'll see that half a stack only gives us 16 minutes of operation. Okay? We're going to pump this thing full of a stack of blaze powder. A stack of blaze powder will just about fill up the additive thing with 4 left over. Alright, so that gives us everything we need to get this engine running. We need to put the fractionation unit in place. Now, the fractionation unit accepts power from the bottom. This means that we need to pump power in from the bottom, so it's going to have to go 1 level up. We're actually going to put this right here. You'll see why. If we go back up, we also need to transform our power from coming in from the side to going up. We need bevel gears for that. I haven't made any yet, have I? No. Bevel gears, made in a work table, base panels, HSLA steel, shaft units, and an HSLA steel bar. We're just going to make a few of these. We're going to make a few of these. We're going to make a bunch of these. Okay. Need a couple of shafts. We need a gear. And we need an HSLA steel ingot. Gear in the middle. Shaft units here. Ingot there. base panels all around, gives us our bevel gears. Now, the performance engine has a power output of 1,000, or a speed output of 1,024 rad. The fractionation unit requires a minimum of 8,196 to operate. That means we need to at least 8 times that performance engine. So we need an 8x gearbox. That kind of speed, you want to start messing around with diamond. You don't want to work with steel or anything like that once you start dealing with any amount of speed or power. So we're going to make a few more diamond gears. We're going to make a few more diamond shafts. Okay. This makes a 2x diamond gear. We're going to need 3 of them. This makes a 4x diamond gear. This makes an 8x diamond gear. If we wanted to, we could actually take this a step further. Let's go ahead and go balls to the walls and make this a 16x diamond gear, because we're going to eventually want some 16x gear shafts. Reminder that the fractionation unit doesn't have a minimum power. It just has a minimum speed. The faster we can pour speed through that thing, the better it's going to operate. This is going to allow us to put 16 kilorad into it. It should like that. We're going to need a bucket because we need to put some lubricant into this gearbox. And we are going to need a mount, which we can make using tin. You can also use HSLA steel here if you don't have enough tin, but I always use tin because tin's much more common than iron, and iron is what you need for steel. So this makes our 16-to-1 gearbox. We're also going to need our Rotarycraft screwdriver. Gearbox, right there. Green as an input, red as an output. Bevel gear, right there. We're going to be inputting power from the south. We're going to be outputting it to the up. So, this thing is now set up. If we right-click this, shift right-click it, that's going to put it into speed mode. So it's going to take all of the power from this and it's going to turn it into pure unadulterated speed. We get our bucket, we can get some lube, put some lube in that thing. Now we don't have to worry about it breaking down on us. Now all we have to do is supply the fractionation unit with everything that it needs to make jet fuel, and then pump the jet fuel out. We're going to use a liquid transfer node to do this. However, a liquid transfer node, once you start operating at top speed, is not sufficient to keep that thing empty. If your jet fuel reservoir builds up a backlog, you will start slowing down your production. No matter how fast you're pumping into it, if your jet fuel is starting to back up, it will slow down production to throttle it. You don't want that to happen. You want to be able to produce this stuff at mad speed, right? So, we need to pull the jet fuel out as fast as we can. This requires a stack upgrade, which requires speed upgrade. And there we go. Now we got a stack upgrade. We're also going to need a tank. We're going to want a fairly big tank for this. We're probably going to want to go with a reinforced portable tank. So we need a copper tank to a hardened tank to a reinforced tank. I don't have the endarium to make this into a resonant tank yet. I have the capability to make endarium, but I don't particularly want to quite yet. Alright, on top of the fractionation unit, we're going to put this transfer node. On top of the transfer node, we're going to put the reinforced portable tank. In the transfer node, we're going to put the stack upgrade. This is going to allow it to pump out a bucket at a time. So as long as we're not producing more than a bucket of a jet fuel per every pulse, it'll keep up now. Now all we need to do is supply it with the necessary reagents. Tar sand, blaze powder, netherrack dust, ethanol crystals, don't mind me, multitasking, ethanol crystals, magma cream, and coal. We're only going to have a little bit of coal to start out. That's okay. We're also only going to use this performance engine for a little while. I really don't know why I put that much additive in it. I wasn't thinking. Okay. But that's okay. Everything is a renewable resource that we put into that anyway. So we need a gas tier as the reagent. The gas tier kind of filters it and adds its own little oomph to the process, but the gas tier doesn't get consumed like the other stuff. Alright. We turn this thing on, and our fractionation unit is getting sufficient power. It's getting sufficient speed. Torque, there is no minimum torque. We are producing jet fuel. Liquid power. We produced 1.6 buckets of jet fuel. We'll start processing some more of this. Alright. We got a little more netherrack dust. We can put some more netherrack dust in there. Alright. Now we're doing good. We've already got 4 buckets of jet fuel up there. So, what can you use jet fuel for? There are 2 types of engines that run on jet fuel. The gas turbine, which is an absolute monster, and we're not ready to produce him yet, because he requires a few components that we can't get our hands on quite yet. But the microturbine, we can. The microturbine has a power output of 2.07 megawatts. Mind you, this performance engine, which is currently the most powerful thing in our arsenal, is 262 kilowatts. So this thing, this turbine that we're looking at is almost 10 times as powerful. Right? But it uses jet fuel. How are we doing on resources here? We're still doing okay. Let's see what it takes to make a microturbine. Well, a microturbine takes a combustor, a turbine, a compressor, HSLA steel, and a shaft unit. The turbine is a propeller blade around a compressor. So we need 2 compressors, HSLA steel gear and HSLA steel ingot. 1, 2. Right? Right. I just accidentally made a 3rd. That's okay, we'll need them eventually anyway. The propeller blades are shaft unit, HSLA steel, and base panels. So we need a few more of these. We'll probably want a few more of these. Okay. Combustor is an ignition unit, which we've already made, combined with some more stuff. So we got that. Turbine needs 8 propeller blades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's make the turbine. We also need 2 HSLA steel ingots and a shaft unit. Alright, let's put this in here. Microturbine, yet. Now, if we take a look at the power data for a microturbine, it produces speed 131 kilorad. Currently, our jet fuel process is being powered by something that puts out 16 kilorad. So clearly, by putting this microturbine on that system, we're going to get a dramatic power increase. However, we're not quite producing our reagents for making jet fuel fast enough to justify that dramatic power increase. So we can run that performance engine a while longer. However, what we could do is we could put this microturbine on our grinder and make it that much more efficient. The grinder requires 128 newtons to operate. This microturbine puts out 16, right? In order to get this microturbine to put out the amount of power necessary for that thing to work, we need an 8x gearbox, right? Because 16 times 8 is 128. I think. I hope. 16, 32, 64, 128. Yeah. So we need an 8x gearbox. However, there's something else to bear in mind here. Taking a look at the microturbine. This thing puts out speed at 131,072 rad. If we check our Rotarycraft manual, we need to check the shaft limit for diamond. A diamond can handle 4 million rad, so we're okay here. If we were using steel, we would be outside the limit that steel can handle, and steel would instantly explode if you try to put that kind of power through it. So, we're okay using diamond. We're going to need a few more diamond shafts. Diamond shafts, diamond gears. 1, 2, 3. 4x. Need a few more shafts. You can see this is a very expensive process on diamonds once you get started. 8x. Some tin. Makes ourselves a shaft, or a mount. The mount plus the 8x gearbox gives us, or the mount plus the mount, right? Yeah, blah, blah. You guys know what I mean. All right. Let's go downstairs and shut this performance engine down. Now, we're almost out of fuel. We're almost out of additives. That's good. Means we're not wasting too much when we do this. Let's break this 2x gearbox. Instead of that 2x gearbox now, we're going to put an 8x gearbox. We're going to grab a bucket. Put the bucket in there. We're going to put down the microturbine. We're going to grab a couple of buckets of jet fuel. Now the microturbine doesn't require water. It just requires fuel. We're going to put 8 buckets in to start. We're going to turn this thing on. Now, this thing needs to be in torque mode in order for it to work. What's this? Our power is going up. That's right. This thing has a spin-up time. When it first starts running, it is not running at full speed. It is putting out the full torque necessary. It is putting out a full 128 nanometers of torque. But the speed increases. The speed will ramp up until it reaches its maximum power output, which for this engine is 2.097 megawatts. So if we watch this, we're going to keep going past 800 kilowatts. We're going to keep going past 900 kilowatts. We'll hit 1 megawatt. Now we're already producing far more than that gas this performance engine could ever put out. So if we look at this, our speed is increasing fairly dramatically, right? We're out of coal in this fractionation unit. So at this point, we are just wasting fuel. See what I mean with we're not producing resources fast enough to handle running jet fuel at a much higher rate at the moment? We're at 1.7 megawatts. Let's go ahead and dump the rest of the coal flakes in there. If we look at this thing now, we're at 2.0 megawatts, 2.1 megawatts. We have just reached maximum power output for this engine. It's now running at top speed, which means this grinder is now also running at top speed. Look at how much faster he's running now. He's running a lot faster. Now, we could take this even a step further. You can link multiple engines on the same line. It's actually not difficult to do. That will increase the amount of speed going into this thing because we'll be putting in, we won't need to transform it as much, because if you link engines up in tandem, they will add their torque together as long as all of the engines are running at the same speed. If you use what's the name of that frickin' gearbox thing? A shaft junction. Using a shaft junction, you can have an engine coming in from two different angles. Like if we put a shaft junction down right here, we could have an engine coming in from this side and coming in from this side, outputting to this side. Those engines, as long as they are running at the same speed, will add their power together. So two of these engines, one engine puts out 16 nanometers of torque at 131 kilorad, right? For a power of 2.097 megawatts, 2.1 megawatts, round up. Link two of them together, you're getting 32 nanometer at the same speed, 131,072 rad for a total of 4.2 megawatts of power. If we were to link 8 microturbines in tandem, as long as all those microturbines were running at the exact same speed, we would have an effective power output of 16 megawatts. 17 megawatts, something like that. We'd have 128 nanometers of torque going out at 131,000 rad. See, right now we're running it through an 8x gearbox. We're getting 128 nanometers of torque, but we're dividing our speed by 8. So, yeah. This thing is running much more happily now. However, unfortunately, guys, we've hit that time. So, I'm going to go ahead and produce more jet fuel off camera. I'm going to farm some more blaze rods off camera so we have the reagents to go forward. And I'm going to go ahead and farm up or do some more mining. I'm going to process some of my ores through the grinder in order to make sure we have what we need next episode. Because next episode, we're going to start playing around with some of the higher tier Rotarycraft stuff. I am talking about the extractor. Wait until you guys see what the extractor does. We're getting into that next episode. This has been Nightdagger with Let's Play Modded Minecraft with Nightdagger Season 5, Episode 25. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'll catch you later, peeps.